On today's video, we look at pathways. Are they really headed on the right path? Hi everyone, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to my channel and you found me right now, well, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. For all the regular viewers, welcome back everyone. I hope everyone out there is having a fantastic day because really we deserve it, don't we? Now, today's conversation is going to revolve around pathways. They're an amazing land. They were introduced in Zendikar Rising, which means they're a new land cycle. Their price history will be quite short. But here's the thing. There's still a massive volume of sales for people buying these lands. We're going to talk about that today. Now, when you look at a pathway, if you're new to Magic or you just didn't quite know how they work, pathways come into play and you choose one or the other of a color cycle, whatever they're paired with. Let's just say it's white-red. When white-red comes in, you have to choose which side it's going to be. There'll be a face card on each side, and you will choose which one. But you can't flip it back and forth. You have to pick one cycle when it comes in, which is okay. But it's definitely not as good as a fetch land. A lot of people is going to say, nah, it's not as good as a shock land either because, you know, the color fixing can be exact for some people. It's definitely better than a basic land, that's for sure. And as far as it goes for triomes, many people would say it's still not as good. You can cycle a triome and you can get 3 colors with a triome, although it does come into play tapped. So for a land that doesn't come into play tapped and you can't fetch it, it's still a pretty good land, let's face it. And with so many lands cycling out right now, when we have these cards drop off, triomes are going to leave us. We're going to have a lot of color fixing not available. So the only ones we're going to have will be the pathways. They're going to see the higher sales. Right now I'm already seeing pretty frenzied sales on a lot of different fronts, but expect them to go higher. And we know that Zendikar Rising, and as well as Kaldheim, were not as opened as other sets. Zendikar had quite a few. Kaldheim really fell to the wayside. So with Kaldheim being that way, as well as Zendikar Rising, there might be a drought about a year from now. I'm kind of curious to see how it'll play out. It depends on how desirable we are and how open the world is for in-house play. It's going to be very interesting. So let's take a look at some of the prices and see how these things are faring, shall we? So our first pathway I'm going to show you guys is Needle Verge Pathway. You can see it started out a little bit high, kind of went low, and it's kind of hovering around $4. It's been quite consistent. For a while there was a little bit below, but generally speaking it's around that $4 mark and it's hanging in quite nicely. Now, as with most colors, when you start adding blue into the mix, you can see that the Clearwater Pathway is quite nicely going higher than the previous land I just showed you. At $5.94 average, and the volume of sales for these type of cards, it's very considerable. It's something to keep your eye on if you have these. And don't forget, you could be spending a lot more money if you go ahead and say, hey, I want to get the full art version or the full art foil. It can be expensive. Now our next one is the Crag Crown Pathway. Very, very inexpensive. It is crashed. It is very low. It hasn't really recovered, although the full art ones can command quite a bit, and the full art foils. So it's something to keep an eye on if you happen to have one. Now, when we're talking about the Branch Loft Pathway, you can see it started out around a little over $8, totally crashed down. And at the end, again, I'll show you the sales I actually confirmed and cross-checked from my listings of things I check on from all the sellers out there on eBay and other platforms, as well as local stores. So this is not the be-all, end-all. It's just some information so you get an idea of how these lands are doing. Now, when you see the Bright Climb Pathway, you can see right there, it went really high. It was like, again, that $8 mark crashed down to $4, but you'd be surprised how many are selling. People are buying them this low, and eventually we're going to start getting a little dry because people are not cracking Zendikar Rising anymore, are we? We're holding on to these things. Now the next one, you notice there, River Glide Pathway, it's a blue one, it's a little bit higher. Now it says here it's still falling around that $5 mark. I had trouble finding any listings that low for $5 where I was looking, so I'll be curious to see what people tell me in the comment section about their experiences looking for these lands. The next one is going to be the Blightstep Pathway. Now when you start getting into stuff like Kaldheim, remember, you had Zendikar Rising had 6. Kaldheim only had 4 to make the entire playset group. So when that happened inside Kaldheim, they're a little harder to get. So the prices generally are a little harder because there's only 4 to find, not 6. So the boxes, you had to open a lot more to get the same kind of spread you might need. So the prices will tend to be higher for anything from the Kaldheim series. Now, Dark Boar Pathway, same thing. You see it's around that $8, $9 mark. It went higher, lower, it dropped quickly. For a while there, it was affordable for like a $2, $3, $4 mark. I found a couple that sold, but generally speaking, no. You gotta pay more for the call time stuff. Now, the last one I want to show you guys is going to be the Bark Channel Pathway. Again, these are amazing lands, but they have those drawbacks which hold these prices in check right now, and I don't know what this means going forward if Wizards doesn't print different mana cycles. So when you see this bad boy out there, you gotta say, yeah, it's not bad. All the blue ones seem to do a little bit better, and that is what makes them very interesting. Now, the last little bit I want to show you guys today before we end our video off is going to be a whole bunch of the actual sales and prices for these lands. So the first ones we're going to take a look at are going to be the Kaldheim set. So when we're checking out these ones, I want to show you that I looked up the full arts because that's what I went after when I was purchasing these. The low I found for Bark Channel was $6. Blightstep was $6. Now the high that I found and confirmed paying for me was $10.50 and then $11. Depending if they're foil or not, they are a little bit higher locally right now. For here in Toronto, these are Canadian prices I'm showing you right now. And when you see the Dark Boar Pathway, you can see as low as $5, as high as $10.50. And the Henge Gate Pathway, $3, very affordable, all the way up to $9, depending on what you were after. So when you take a look at that, you realize, you know, there can be a real discrepancy in the prices of where you're buying and the supply and demand of the area as well. Locally, I've noticed a little bit more differences in these prices, but the volume remains consistent. There's high sales. People are getting play sets because it's very inexpensive to do so. When I popped everything into a cart at a local store, like online, I basically get complete sets for around the $50 mark, like 4 of each. So that was kind of crazy to think, wow, I can get an entire cycle of everything I need, 4 of every one for like $50 with free shipping. That was kind of crazy. I enjoyed doing it. It was kind of fun. Now, the last one I want to show you are going to be all the regular ones that came out with Zendikar Rising. This is the one you had 6. So the Clearwater, as low as $4.25, as high as $11. The Crag Crown, $3.50, but as high as $7. The Branch Loft is as low as $3, as high as $6.50. The Bright Climb, $2.75, as high as $7.50. Needle Verge, $2.50 to $7.50. And the River Glide, $3.75, all the way up to $11 for the basic ones in Canada. Remember, those were basic ones. The other ones I showed you were the full art prices. So if we have a mana base that is this affordable, and we know other mana bases are rotating out of standard, okay? So you got to face the fact that Triumphs are leaving. A lot of the other lands from Eldraine and stuff, they're all leaving. So we're going to have Pathways as our main mana base. And there'll be some Snarl lands we've got from Strixhaven. We have a few choices. We got some snow-covered lands from Kaldheim. We have some stuff. Pathways are going to see a lot more play. And if you start seeing play in standard, you have to realize people are going to buy a lot of them. I told you earlier in the video that I could take $50 and I basically got 4 of each. Just a basic version, but 4 of each. When I opened boxes of Zendikar Rising, I got 3 or 4 in a box. And maybe the odd full art. The boxes I opened in Kaldheim, which was like only 2 boxes, I think I got 2 or 3 in a box. Okay? So let's look toward that. If I can get whole playsets for $50, but you're only getting a couple in a box, there's a disparity. There's going to be an issue later on with supply and demand, which is the whole point of why I'm doing these land videos. If you have these lands, I do not recommend selling them. Hold on to them because you're probably going to need them at some point, and your mana base is very important. Just like I talk about with reserve list stuff, you just won't get as good value for buck trading them in, so you might as well hold on to them. And if you do hold on, you might see that residual effect of, oh, I didn't have to buy these next time. That's great. I already have them as they rotate around, because they will get reprinted at some point. But since they're in rotation right now, and there's not many more people going to be opening Zendikar Rising or going to be opening Kaldheim in the near future, at least not en masse, to meet the supply and demand probably a year from now, it'll be very interesting to see where this all ends up. Where are we a year from now? I will report to you guys. I will let you know how things are going as we go along, and as the sales history gets longer on sets like this to see how the sales figures add up. The volume's there, but the prices are not checking upward yet. So unlike Triumphs, which kind of went up right away after about a year and a half, these sets are 6 months to 9 months old, and they don't have that same bite yet. So let's take a look about a year from now and see where these things are headed. I'm MTG Moxman. Thanks for tuning in. And yes, there'll be more land videos coming this week. I think I still have snarls and some stuff to cover. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Remember, leave some comments in the comments section below. Love to talk to you guys. And of course, bring a friend to Magic. It's what it's all about, right? Have a great one, everyone. Hey guys, big shout out to all my patrons out there. Thank you again for all the continued support. Patrons make my world go round. And if you're looking for patron slots, you can always check the first of the month to see if new patron slots have been added. Hey guys, how you doing out there? Hope everyone enjoyed the video today. You're chilling out with me now. You see? You see that bad boy? Just the pre-release thing? That's right, you saw me do it. It's in the 10K box. I know nobody's figured out the 10K box, but you're not supposed to figure it out. You're supposed to follow the rules. This stuff could be important. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all you need to know right now. And as we get closer to 10,000 subscribers, that's when I will explode your minds with the information. Can't wait. I hope everyone's having an awesome day. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, man. Chill out time! I gotta go make dinner for the family. I have to. Happy wife, happy life.